episode 4 of 8 Up the Podcast. Hi, my name is Jeff.
My name is Kiki.
And we are here to funk you up. So, Kiki, how you been here?
Oh, I've been all right. How about you, Jeff?
I've been fine.
Yeah.
Never better.
Yeah, I'm in a real bad mood. We're on one today. And we are here with our special guest,
Shelby Kelly. But first, let's talk about Tom.
Who is not with us today.
He's not with us today. He is apparently detained in a Filipino prison. Something to do with alcohol and LSD and a Filipino ladyboy.
And a ransom that we refuse to pay.
Yeah, we're not paying it. So he may or may not be back. We don't know yet. Details are pretty sketchy. Rick, have you heard anything from the authorities?
The authorities have put us all under a strict gag order. Even if we do find any information, we are only to report it to the authorities.
So just to warn him for you boys and girls out there, do not mess around with Filipino ladyboys. It never ends well.
Have some respect.
Have respect for the ladyboy.
Me too.
In case you're wondering, the wonderful music that we always play on the podcast is by a gentleman named Brent Old. Really old friend of mine. He was in Johnny Sacco, Booming of Alcatraz, a bunch of local bands, and he lives in Cincinnati now, and he plays in a reggae band called the Cleftones. But he's been doing all the music for us, and he's an awesome job. And he especially wrote this music this week in honor of the Black Panther. So thank you, Brent. We love Brent.
Thanks, Brent.
Good stuff, yeah. Also, I want to give a shout out to Irvington Vinyl, who, for unknown reason, continue to sponsor the show. So, yeah, I mean, Rick Rickerson, thank you so much. He's right in the heart of Irvington. If you go to Book Mama's Bookstore, which is, I think, at Johnson Street, Johnson and Washington Street, right there in the Masonic Temple. Anything you possibly want for books, records, got a whole basement of the most obscure country. I mean, I spend hours down there just looking through all this old country shit that you can't find any place else. No place else has as much country as Rick does. It's just, I love it. So, yeah, Rick Wilkinson, Irvington Vinyl, rocks.
Oh, yeah.
When you go there, don't forget there's an entire basement full of records.
A basement of
Yeah.
country, easy listening, jazz, you name it. And it's just overwhelming. I can spend hours. I do spend hours there every week. So, there's that. Okay, so we got the money shot down.
Down to business.
Yeah, we made some money talking Shelby Kelly. Shelby!
Yes.
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 I've known you for 20 years now, 30 years.
Yeah, something like that, 20-something years.
I think I first met you working at Bay Music.
Yeah. Yeah. Those days.
Those good old days.
Yeah.
So,
If you want to call them that. But no, it was good times.
well, before we start talking about your music, part of your artistic output,
Yeah.
you've got this new project going. I really haven't been able to wrap my head around it. I mean, you put like obscure like Facebook videos up, but I can't really tell what's going on. Is it a puppet show? Is it a children's show? What?
No, man, it's honestly, it's me. It's me trying to figure stuff out with these little creatures that I made. Some of them are just posable, and then I have another one that is a puppet that I'm trying to work out in front of the camera to see if I can make it look real. But I'm not trying to pass it off as real. I'm just trying to animate it as much as I can, without the rods being seen. It's just experimenting, that's all it is.
So this is just like trying to come up, seeing what you can do with it.
Yeah.
Medium.
Yeah. Those things are more of my personal art projects that I do, and I have a collection of them, and I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I mean, people want me to do stuff with them, and it's like I don't know in what capacity really to put them out there, because it's people think that you want money for you want money for them, but it's like I don't make them to make money, so they don't have a price on them, but it's just what I do, man. I mean,
do you find that sometimes you start doing art and art tells you what to do with it?
Yeah, totally. That's what's great about these things, is that other than the makeup of the face, the head, the rest of the stuff is stuff that I find that's on the street, like little found objects. And I incorporate those into them, and sometimes they help spark the character. Sometimes it's just like if I'm, because the heads themselves I make out of wood. So if I'm wood burning it, or if I'm carving it and I slip and scrape and put a big gash in it, well, then this thing has a gash in its face. And so then I highlight that. And then, so it's something like that always, I don't have like this preconceived idea of what I want to do. I know that I'm doing this, but the character itself emerges on its own. And so I've made like 13 now, and they're all their individual, no two look alike, kind of thing.
So
Awesome.
when you say you use found objects in with your you incorporate it into your art, can you give us an example of like one of your favorite characters that you found something and that's like part of that character now?
Yeah, in a weird way. I made one here recently and was walking my dog and found a pine cone, and I know it. I mean, it doesn't really classify as a found object, but I took it and pulled some of the, I don't even know what the seedlings, I guess is what they're called, and I pulled them out and made like this, like these kind of shoulder things. Looks like Road Warrior kind of, man,
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and then pistachio seeds. I have one queen, and she has like pistachio seed cover, but I mean, it's respectfully done. It's not like, boobs, but I mean, it's like this, it's part of her outfit, and it's really, really cool. But other ones, other things have been like just finding like rusty nails and turning rusty nails into weaponry, or like finding an old washer that I incorporate into the costume somehow.
Cool.
Or, so it's
Wow.
a lot of that.
Can't wait for you to find a 10th Street hooker. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Now I'm going to do something with them. I mean, it's just what you've been seeing online has just been like little experiments.
Right.
Because I just want to see. Like, I'm working on a short right now that I'm waiting for the weather to kind of get decent again. So because it's going to require a lot of outside shots. But I did some before it got cold, and I was really happy with how it turned out. But it's based on like the Tooth Fairy myth, but in different countries it kind of drops off. Some of it's like a tooth fee, and then in our culture it's a tooth fairy, and then the other culture it's like a I think in Mexico it's like a mouse or something like that. So it's
Right.
But it's my little take on it, and this whole little short is going to be about it, so it'll be really cool when I get done with it. But man, I've got so many irons in the fire anyway. I don't know. I just kind of bounce around. So.
How do you keep? You might get overwhelmed sometimes.
Well, for one, I have a wonderful wife that allows me to do it. She doesn't force me to do other things.
Well, that's always helpful.
Right. So that's great. But so it starts with her. But it's just sometimes, man. Sometimes what's the hardest is that I come up with something that I feel passionate about, and that's what drives me. I don't do it for money. I don't do it to be noticed. I do it
Right.
because I'm moved to do it. And so it's. Sometimes I'm trying to focus on that, and then you have someone that wants a band logo, or someone that wants a band flyer, or somebody that wants this or wants that, and it's what I do, but it's always that, hey, Shelby, can you, hey, I got this idea, man. I got this idea, and then, are you interested? well, okay, yeah, I'm interested, but then it's like open the floodgates, and they need it by last week, and you're trying to chase their idea, and then so you're spending all this time over here when really you want to be here,
Right.
And this is what's moving you. This is what's moving you forward. This here is like, what am I doing this for? Because you spend $200 in time on a $50 flyer, so it's kind of like, I can't keep doing this, and so it gets, when it's like, but I also like to help people out. So if they come to me, man, then it's like, if I'm doing this, then it's like I'm Mr. Nice Guy, and then I usually get screwed because of it. But they came to me for a reason. But really, sometimes, man, especially lately, I just can't produce. I can't do it. I try, but I can't, because I can't chase people's ideas anymore.
What do you consider yourself foremost? A musician or an artist?
Well, I mean,
or is that even something you can answer?
Me, man. It's just what I do, really. I mean, people want to know what you are. I mean, if you're playing music, they want to call you a musician. If you're standing with a paintbrush in your hand or in front of a painting, they want to call you an artist. But really, it's all the same thing, man. It's all just interpretation.
Right. I'm
just a conduit. That's all. It doesn't matter if I have a wood burning tool, if I have a paintbrush, if I have a drumstick, if I have a guitar, it's all the same. It's just the tools change. That's all, man. But it's that the visions in my head, where the songs come from, where these ideas come from. I mean, I don't know, how do you label that? I mean,
Right.
You can say you're a musician, you can say you're an artist, but then what is that?
Right.
That's everybody calling themselves an artist and everybody calling themselves a musician, and it's not such a unique little club anymore. It's like,
I'm a bullshit artist, so.
And you're great too, by the way.
Very good.
Fucking Picasso.
Thank you, Charlie. So, cover bands.
Yeah.
And I gotta say,
Money making.
Full Moon Dogs is probably one of my favorite cover bands I've ever seen.
Well, kick
the
ass.
only cover band that I would ever consider saying nice things about.
Cool, man. Cool.
And I like it that you don't pick the same songs that everybody else in a cover band does.
Right.
And so how do you pick the songs?
Oh, man. It's
I mean, these songs are weird. I mean, nobody would ever... I can't even see people requesting these songs, but when you hear them, people go fucking nuts because they haven't heard this shit before.
Right.
Like what?
Oh,
Like-
21st century, 20th Century Boy?
Yeah. Or Elvis Costello, Radio.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't remember. There's so many songs we've rolled out. I mean, we all have eclectic tastes when it comes to music. So, but we really had to kind of break out of this self-imposed kind of restriction that we put on ourselves, because you want to sell yourself. You have to. The bar, you're doing business with the bar. They want to make sure that you're not running customers off. So, do you do this song, and and maybe one or two people are like, yeah, but the rest of the club is looking at you like, well, so we went through that for a period, man, where it was like, hey, how about this song? Well, no, nobody's going to dance to it. Then it's like, well, what are we, man? Are we a dance band? I mean, what are we? Are we a good rock and roll band that plays good rock and roll songs that people just have maybe moved on from, or whatever? And so we start with us. It's like, well, Time Has Come Today. It just happens. Like, I heard that on the radio, on the not like our radio, but on the internet. No, not internet, like TV, that TV radio crap. Mm-hmm. And it was on there, and I thought, man, that'd be a great song. And so then you throw that at everybody, and they're like, yeah, cool.
So, what was the first band?
What?
What was the first band you ever were in?
Oh, man, I can't. I think it was Midnight Roses, dude, in high school.
Midnight Roses.
Yes, dude. Yes, yeah. It was a bad time, dude. It was like, but that was when like Guns N' Roses Live Like a Suicide cassette tape came out before Appetite for Destruction,
Right.
and we were in like Hanoi Rocks and all this. So we couldn't play it, but we liked the name, and a buddy of ours made a T-shirt at high school, so we had T-shirts. No songs,
wow.
but we had T-shirts.
Damn.
It's rock and roll, man.
That's awesome.
And then you went into the Army.
Oh yeah, a while later, yeah, kind of a desperate move at a desperate time, but experience that was, definitely needed, man.
Yeah.
How long were you in?
Almost 2 years. I got out for medical
Did you
discharge.
kill anybody?
No, I was trained to kill though, but no.
So you can kill.
I can't kill,
Good
but
enough.
I choose not to. Yeah, right. No, it's that was a. I think everybody needs that, man. I think that's a good for any male anyway. I think
women need it too. I think just in general,
True.
The cultures that you go to. I'm from Greece, and there's a mandatory military service for men there.
Yeah, right.
Guys, just young men conduct themselves differently in countries where it's compulsory military service.
Yeah.
There's just more respect. There's more reservation and just kind of social awareness that I don't see in other countries.
Yeah, and your worldview opens up as well, which, if you stay closed-minded. I mean, I've known guys that were in the military that went to Germany and did all this stuff, but they're still like walnut-sized brains, man. It's like, where did you get stuck? How did you not take all this that you got, all this education, and turn it into something?
How do you think that you use that experience in your art? Do you think that that's influenced you?
No, I would say just more in life, really. I mean, by that I mean, like when I was in Germany, my wife and I just talked about this. When I was in Germany, it was like, I didn't look military. I didn't want to look military, so I grew out my hair as long as I could grow it. And like Friday, I wouldn't shave, because I could go and conduct myself out in Germany and not draw any attention, and so it's like, so to me, I mean, you almost become a ghost, but a very aware ghost. But it's like, you learn so much more that way because you're not a threat. You're not walking into some bar pumping USA and buzz cutting all, hey, let's party, that kind of stuff. It's like, right, and that's a large part of, at that time, a large part of the dudes that were in the military. There were, to every 10 people, there was probably one person that was like, insightful enough and open enough to really like, hey, let's, instead of killing a keg of beer and then being hungover the day before, let's all go out and to the German countryside and check it out, and that's the group
talk to some people.
Right, and that was the group I ran with, and I found like so many people, through that were really cool people that had no ties to the military. That was,
Wow.
And it was cool.
Did you talk to so many people?
Just dudes from the military. I mean, you can't really form too close, bonds with people. I mean, we had German friends, but it wasn't like pen pals type of stuff. It was, you go to a pub and you would see them, and they knew that you weren't going to start pounding your chest and USA,
America, fuck yeah!
right, and whole worldview opens up, man, when you're not a threat.
Let's break right now. Let's play the first song that really brought you to my attention.
Right on.
And that was Up Jump the Devil.
Cool.
By Creepin Charlie.
Yes.
So, Rick, you wanna play a song for us?
Up jump the devil!
Wow, that's one of the greatest opening songs any band could ever have. Have you ever not opened a show with that song?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You're stupid.
I never claimed to be smart, man.
I mean, God, it's just a perfect capitalization of what Creepin' Charlie was all about for me. I mean, Grimmett, one of the greatest guitar players the city's ever seen in my life. So much going on in that song.
Well, it's Chad Pollock's buzzing bass line that's killer.
Chad killing
he
it.
drives it, man.
Bach was not a nerd, so he was actually rocking.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And, you know, that was a magical time when this song came out. I mean, it was, I Am In was big.
Right.
The whole scene was kind of on an upswing. We had, you know, I always thought Creepin' Charlie was going to be the one.
Dude, we were always...
And it really shocked me that it turned out to be Reverend Peyton. And,
well, because we were the black sheep, man. I mean, it was, you know, I don't know. I mean, there was a couple of things that probably could have happened that would have made things a little better for us as a band, you know. Like, if we could have gotten certain gigs, you know, stuff like that. But it's, you know, sometimes you wonder if people view you as a threat because you're recording it all and you're doing it all and you're, you know, do the artwork, you do all this other stuff, and people have this perception of you that you've got your shit together and really you're just as desperate as everybody else trying to get opportunities and stuff. And
that's what made you different, because you came out fully formed. You had your image down, you had your artwork, you had everything was all there.
Right.
And what really got me was the band that got all the opportunities was America on the Moon, and they just fuck it up every single time. I mean, God love them, but Jesus fucking Christ. Why didn't you guys get all the opportunities? I mean, if you had gotten the opportunities, if you were open for the Black Keys, all this shit, I mean,
well, yeah. I mean, would have, could have.
Would have, could have, should have, yeah. But
I mean, the main thing was, and honestly, you know, I'm not going to try to piss anybody off, but it was, we just couldn't get our ducks in a row, man. You know, and that's the big problem with a lot of the bands in indie, you know, and less noticed towns, man, is that there's just this lack of direction. There's this lack of, like, how do we take this into a professional vein without, like, you know, because most people think, oh, I'm selling out. Well, you know, no, you're not selling out. If you're trying to function as a band that can tour and that can do all the things that need to be done for a band to really move forward, man,
and make a living.
Yeah. I mean, you have to cross in those business lines. You have to commit, you know, and we just, as a band, just couldn't commit. I mean, I had a kid, you know, it was like, you know, I just got back into fatherhood again, man, and like, you know, so I was limited. Andy, he had his 2 kids, and, you know, and he became limited, but it was all right because, you know, Creepin' Charlie was what Creepin' Charlie was, you know, and it was, I don't know, what it was to me is that, you know, I've created this great musical relationship with these 3 guys, but mostly, you know, no, I'm not discounting Andy, but with, you know, I've moved on with Eric and Chad, and, you know, in the Full Moon Dogs, and then with Eric in the Shelby County Centers. That was important to me, but that wasn't Creepin' Charlie. You know, that's what I think is missed about the Creepin' Charlie story, is that when I started those songs, when I wrote that song, that was a demo song that I wrote by myself and recorded by myself. And so,
the devil?
Yeah, I played everything on it. A lot of the songs that are on the first album were songs that I wrote and I recorded in my basement. I did a 7-inch by myself because I had this grander idea of who Creepin' Charlie could be. That's why I sang it like I sang it, you know. And I think maybe that turned some people off at first because they thought, "Oh, what we just do is trying to be Tom Waits or what he's trying to do." And it's like, no, I'm trying to be this character of Creepin' Charlie because I have this bigger idea of videos and all this stuff, all this multimedia kind of stuff that could go on. That's why we came out of the gate with so much, you know, because I was working on all the stuff behind the scenes. When it moved into a band, you know, I wasn't making any money, man. I wasn't able to say, I want you here at Friday at 7 p.m. for a practice that's going to last this long and you're going to be at this show. And, you know, I couldn't do any of that as a songwriter. So I had to say, you know, come play my band, you know, or come play my music, man, and hopefully it's cool enough for you to have fun doing it, you know, and that just is what propelled the band for so long. But when you do that, then you risk the whole original idea of what you have, because you can't pay anybody to stay within the lines. You have to kind of accept what they bring to it. Well, what they brought to it was a whole plethora of other songs, man, that were great, but they didn't connect. Really, there was a big gap, between what the songs I was writing and the songs that we were writing and recording as a band. And that's why if you listen to Duct Tape and Bacon, you'll hear it. You'll hear Up Jump the Devil, but you'll also hear the outcome of this, which it was me trying to bring a song in for the band to play so that we could have song number 13 when we played live, and we just kind of went in that direction, but we lost our identity at the same time.
It's kind of heartbreaking, though, because
yeah, it is.
At the end, you were probably one of the most tightest, most versatile bands in the city.
Right.
And it just...
But I'll tell you right now, it's people's beliefs in themselves. It was my lack of belief in myself. It was Eric's lack of belief in the guitar player that he is.
Which is mind-boggling to me.
But he's not the big-headed dude that like absorbs all that. He's a humble guy. But I think that in both of our instances, that humble side that we have to us has hurt us, because we do what we do, and we do what we do with a lot of passion. That's what makes us who we are, and what we can do. It's not about anybody being better than anybody else. It's how much heart you're bringing to the game.
Right.
But when you don't have that belief in yourself, it's like, well, why should I push this? Like, why should I, and that was the problem. Was like, why do this when we can't get the show? We can't get the festival show. We can't get the high profile gig that puts us in front of a lot of people. We could never get that stuff. So it was like, so why try? So I think kind of unconsciously we started trying to write songs that weren't so, based on the original idea of Creepin' Charlie. Right. But we were always Creepin' Charlie in the Boneyard Orchestra, and I wanted to cut it away, just be Creepin' Charlie and play songs that we were moving towards as a band. But it just petered out, man,
Well, we had a conversation in probably 2010, right at the end, the tail end of, and I remember it was at Radio, and I was like, man, what are you guys gonna do? I mean, I was trying I forget what I was proposing something, and you're like, man, this is the last show. I think maybe a couple more shows. I'm done.
Right.
I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, you're like, I'm too old. Right. Too old for this. It's over for me.
Right.
And it really kind of, because it was at a time when my relationship was unraveling, and I was starting to feel kind of old because of new blood coming in the Nouveau at the time.
Right.
And I was kind of trying to figure out, do I still want to write about music? So, I mean, you were one of my musical,
right on.
drawing houses.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, our good friend John Fanning, he was dying at the time.
Right.
So it was just a really heavy time to raise our whole...
Yeah, man. There was a lot of transitions going on, I think, then. I mean, I know, I can't speak for Eric, man, but from conversations that we had, I think that he just thought we could do better than Creepin' Charlie. That there was too many things that like held us back with that name and this idea, that if we'd have stuck to the original idea, then it could have been like Unknown Henson, it could have been this whole big thing, but we whittled it down to where we were just this 4-piece rock and roll band, which was good, but it was like, but we're just a 4-piece rock and roll band, man. How do you, unless I was to become the dictator and say, it's going to be like this, we're going to look like this, you're going to show up on stage and,
you're going to play your washboard, breezy, you're going to wear those stupid dresses. And
oh, man, dude, hey, he's doing it, I'm not. Yeah. He's out traveling the world, man. I'm not, so I don't have, not a lick of disrespect towards anybody that's done what they do and made it work, but...
Well, hey, let's listen to the outcome of this.
Right on.
This is absolutely one of my favorite songs any local band's ever done, ever. And every time I listen to it, it just speaks to me in so many levels. So.
It's a non-Creepin' Charlie song that's got called a Creepin' Charlie song, really, man. But
it's one of your best songs,
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm really proud of it, really.
keep all your secrets locked away safely. I threw out their key long ago. Black and white memories are too hard to remember, though it seems like I'll never forget. And oh, here we go again. I know what the outcome of this is gonna be. And oh, if only I know, felt it deep in my bones, you can bet. I keep on pretending, even though the truth tells me that I'll ride out the storm by your side. Back and forth feeling, one extreme to the other, with no middle ground in between. And oh, here we go again. I know what the outcome of this is gonna be. And oh, if only I know, felt it deep in my bones, you can bet. And where will you run when there's no place left to go? And where will you hide when your secret places are known? Here we go again. I know what the outcome of this is gonna be. And oh, if only I know, felt it deep in my bones, oh, you can bet.
All right. God, I love that song. God, I love that song. Where were you when you wrote that song? I mean, where was your head?
In my basement on Eric's Wurlitzer piano that we had over there. I don't know. Man, I don't know. It's just
about
again,
a breakup, isn't it?
Man, I think it's just about a situation where you know how it's going to go. You know, I mean, all signs point to it. I mean, you know, that's to me what it's always represented is the chorus. Here we go again. I know what the outcome of this is going to be. I mean,
it's really funny because at the time, whenever I could have a fight with my girlfriend,
yeah.
The first line of the chorus would always pop in my head. Here we fucking go again.
Right.
I know what the outcome of this is gonna be.
Right.
So
I don't specifically remember anything that set it off. I mean, it was just that I went downstairs and sat down and started pounding out the keyboard, and then that came out. So
So Creepin' Charlie, when you got a reunion gig, right?
Yeah, don't ask me the date though, because I have no idea. I don't know, man. I don't know, dude. I'm the worst with dates. I'm like, here today. That's what I know. Tomorrow, I'll get in the morning. I'll check the schedule, and if it looks like I got something to do, then I'll do it.
It's a radio, right?
Yeah. With 5-year mission.
How you feel about doing it?
Maybe 16th. I could be.
Are you excited?
I am now. It was really scary because, we haven't done Creepin' Charlie in a long time. We were going to, but we didn't.
How long has it been?
Well, it's been a few years, man.
That time I remember was the New Year's Eve show with Toxic Reasons and.
Yeah, I think so. Well, there might have been a time. Well, I don't know. I know we played a birthday party briefly, but anyway, so much time had gone past, and I'd been. Fortunately, singing with the dogs kept me prepared, but I was really worried that I wouldn't be able to sing like that anymore. But it was like riding a bike, man. So we pulled it together pretty quick.
And you got 5-year missions opening for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Woo, yeah. The Creepin' Charlie, the creepiest band with the nerdiest band.
Hey, they're doing it. Man, that's all I can say is they're doing it. They're playing gigs. I mean, they're doing gigs we aren't. So putting out albums.
So have you been practicing? Or?
Yeah. We've had a couple of practices so far. It's sounding great.
How's it feel getting back into those old songs? I mean, is it hard? Is it easy?
No, it's not. But man, I'll tell you, and this is what I was telling you about earlier, is that I think there was this kind of immediate reaction between us all that we were like, why did we stop doing this? Like why? And I think Eric really started feeling it like, man, this is a good band. And because I think from the beginning Eric came into it, Jeff Kleindorfer played guitar for us, and Jeff and I worked really close together on the initial songs, like 25 Cent Peep Show and Up Jump the Devil. We worked on a lot of stuff. So when Eric came into the fold, a lot of stuff was already written, and he was just kind of copying it. And he was in Michigan Blue Street at the time. So I think, to him it was kind of like, yeah, I'll do this. They asked me to play guitar, and I'll do it. And so he didn't really like tie himself into it too much until we actually started writing songs as a band.
And this is right at the end of Hypnotic Velvet Propeller. Yeah.
And so I just think there was a lot of different, there's things that Eric wanted to do, but I think, really what it boils down to is when you brought up like America Owns the Moon, I think the reason why they got all the opportunities is because they had I don't want to say a support system, but they had a group of people, man, that were doing it, and we didn't, man. I mean, we were just this band that played our music, but, we weren't running with any crowds. We weren't doing anything. So other than recording with Banbury in his bedroom, or putting money out and to Paul Mayhern so we can have his name on our record, it was that kind of shit. But it was.
I think there's a lot of females that never got anywhere in Banbury's bedroom.
Hey, that's his business.
You put that out there.
Yeah, okay.
So March 10th. It's a Saturday.
Oh, 10th.
You might want to write this down, Shelby.
Cool.
Put that down in your notebook. March 10th at Radio.
Okay.
Not State Street Pub, not Hi-Fi.
No.
Radio, March 10th, Saturday.
It's not a tribute show.
Creepin' Charlie. It's not Full Moon Dogs.
Yeah, it's not a tribute show.
Or Shelby County Centers. It's Creepin' Charlie and the Boneyard Orchestra.
Right. I say that jokingly, man. I do. No. Radio. I love radio. Radio is our home, so it's it's kind of like laughing at your brother, or something like that, But I love them.
I love radio. Just don't spit on the carpet.
No, never.
Tufty will kill you.
Never. Yes, he will, and as he should.
Spit on somebody's carpet anyway. I don't understand people.
I've seen Tufty stop a show, throw a band out.
Yeah.
for spitting on the carpet.
You know what I love about radio is when you see bands come in that have never played there before, and they come in and they treat Tufty like shit, like he's nobody, you know, and then all of a sudden they see him kind of slide behind the soundboard, and they're like, oh, well, he must be the sound guy. Then he gets up on stage, so they give him like the sound guy kind of treatment, you know, and he's the damn owner of the bar. And it's like, man, how many people that you know own the bar will help you bring your equipment in, run sound, and stay there, make sure that you got a good show. You know, it's like there's not too many of those around, you know.
Well, I've seen bands play, treat him like shit the whole night. Yeah. And then at the end of the night, they found out not only he's the owner of the bar, but he played in Toxic
He's fucking Tufty, man. Yeah, it's like
Tufty. And yeah, they're like,
all right. It's funny to watch their heads spin when they realize it, man.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen that quite a few times, man, and it's hilarious every time.
I ran the door for like 4 years, and it was...
That was always... I ran the door,
that was some of the funniest times I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Dealing with Tufty.
Well, I almost got in a couple fights, man, being the door guy there, but I think it was just my bad attitude. And just me being
bad attitude. So moving on. Right. Shelby County Singers. That was the next step.
Yeah.
And this is really the first band that you started with, Eric.
Yeah.
This is kind of like the ruins of the whole Mandy Marie Decker.
No. You know, really, man, it had nothing to do with that at all.
You kind of took two of the people from that band.
No, I didn't take anybody.
So how did it all come about then?
All right, so how it came about was that a lot of those songs that are on our first CD, that are on 6, and even some that are on this were songs that I had written that was like solo songs. So it was like all this solo stuff that I wrote that Eric called me up because Zanies had their acoustic room. And
you did have a little acoustic solo CD that you
me
put
and
out.
Eric. Yeah, I did. Yeah. That was my solo album. It was called Alone. And some of those songs that we do today are on that. So it was, you know, I was trying to move in this solo direction, just trying to keep busy. And then Eric called me up and wanted to he said, hey, you know, Casey's got this acoustic room. He wants us to, you know, do like a couple hours or whatever. And so it was like, I'm the only dude he knows that has a couple hours of songs that can pull it out. And so we did. And then, so we did it a couple times, man. And it was like, and it felt good. And it was like, because when Eric and I get together and play, man, it not too many people get to hear it, but it's really cool because it's the voice, man.
I remember the gig, that back room, And
it was really cool. And so then, but Eric was in Mandy's band, but he was also in Creepin Charlie at the time too. But Creepin Charlie was on its way out. And then like Mandy did whatever Mandy did, and then like Mo was more available. And so Eric was like, man, why don't we have Mo come out and just have him play on a few things? And so he came out and he played on a few things and was like, all right, well, this is kind of cool. And then we did it again, and it was even better. So, you know, it started it, and it was like, well, I have all these songs, so let's just see what we can do. And so we moved pretty quickly into playing out, but we didn't know who the Shelby County Centers were. At first we were FKG, Foster, Kelly, and Grimmett, which would have looked great on the marquee with F.K.G. You know, t-shirts would have been awesome, but we decided to call it Shelby County Centers. And like when it became apparent to us that there was something there, because we were oblivious to it, you know. It was just me playing hey, you want to hear a song I wrote? Okay, you know, and they were playing to it, but we didn't really know how it was going across, you know. People were, hey, this isn't Creepin Charlie, but you're doing kind of Creepin Charlie stuff, and then, you know.
Right. But I don't know. I mean, okay, for example, we're going to play a song right now, and this is a good lead into the song. The new song, the new album, Whole World Gone Crazy.
Whole damn world's gone crazy.
Whole damn world gone crazy. Sorry,
yes.
Shoot me in the head. The whole damn world gone crazy.
Yeah.
The first song, this arguably is the first real Shelby County Singers where you really...
Yeah, really, because, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Eric brought the guitar line. That song's been around for a while. It used to be Michigan's Blue Street, and it's a Hypnotic Velvet Propeller song, too.
Oh, really?
The riffing, but the whole, I turned it into Shelby County Centers, but...
No shit.
Yeah. I think there's a HVP song, if you listen to it, it's got that same thing.
So it's great because what I love most about this song is when the bass kicked in.
Yeah.
It's like boom, 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 boom. And it's like a signature song. It's like you kicked it right in the gear.
Right.
And I love it. And it really encapsulates That's what everybody brings to the table.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, and you know,
and you got a great video with it too.
Yeah, it's very topical, man. I mean, you know that people can relate to that title. It's the whole damn world has gone crazy, man, and so it's always a fun one to play, you know. But I think it also goes to. You're right. I think it's a very good representation of like what the three of us do, you know, and how we truly sound, you know.
Well, play it, Rick.
Too much static in my head from the parasites and leeches. I won't leave it till I bled. Try to keep my head up to remember what you said. Oh, damn world's gone crazy. Well, I'm told that I can have it all, and I'm free to chase the dream. More and more it seems like dream is just a scheme. It's all an illusion. Nothing's as it seems. Freedom's just another word, 'cause nothing is for free. Well, it's hard to keep my head up without wanting to scream. Oh, damn world's gone crazy. I'm losing every reason, trying to keep myself in line. These politicians keep taking what is mine. It's another push could lead to a life of crime, especially when living right is harder than doing time. But I gotta keep my head up, fight the good fight, 'cause the whole damn world's gone crazy.
Really, it's a different vibe, but it's the same vibe.
It's blues.
How do you explain that?
It's blues. Really, break it down. It's blues. It's E, A, and B. That's all it is, man. There's Creepin Charlie, Shelby County Centers. It's all E, A, and B.
But it's a different vibe.
Right. I mean, just tell me
Well,
ways
this
you
is
can
like-
twist up E, A, and B.
It's like Saturday night in some barn somewhere, and a bunch of drunken hillbillies, and yeehaw.
Teeth hitting the floor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I got a shout out to Jake Robinson at Postal Recordings for that, man. He really, it was a good time recording with them. We did it live to tape. What the hell? What the hell you call it now?
Tape.
Yeah.
It's still called tape.
Right, but it's
Reel to reel.
Yeah, but what the hell? I'm losing the name of it, man. Shit. Anyway, so yeah, but it was all analog. It was supposed to be all analog.
Okay.
Yeah, but we kind of lost it at the end there and put it out digitally, and with the hopes that we'll do it analog. But if we don't tour, what's the use?
I got to tell you, I got to admit to you, I was late to the Shelby County Singers because I was kind of heartbroken for the longest time over the loss of Creepin Charlie.
Right.
And Do you find a lot of people were that way, or did the Creepin' Charlie crowd immediately jump over to?
I think I don't know, man. I mean, I think our listeners are pretty well versed in everything they listen to. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we probably lost it. I mean, probably a lot of people didn't make the crossover, but honestly, I don't care. I mean, because they're two different things, man. I mean, they're apples and oranges, and people will see that when they come to the show. That when they come to see Shelby County Centers, or they come to see the Full Moon Dogs, this is unlike anything they've seen before. You know, so
yeah. So when's the next Shelby County? Why am I even asking?
You're right, dude. Really, honestly.
Do you have any gig coming up?
In April, I believe.
In April.
Yeah.
My God.
But it's great because we're playing out too much anyway, man. You know, I mean, you wanted us to play, or I don't know if you wanted me and Eric on here or not, but it's like, man, we're playing too much, you know, and I feel we're falling into that, you know, we're falling into that. We had our peak, and now we're kind of graciously tumbling to the end of the line, but I hope not. But
I think that's your modesty talking.
No, seriously. I mean, man, it comes down to this: are you just trying to be hot shit in town, or you really want to do this? You know, I mean, I don't want to be hot shit in town. I mean, I want to make a living, man. I want to be able. I want to travel more than anything. Right. You know, but if you have somebody, man, that works 12 hours a day, you know, and then you have somebody that you know, I mean, life straps you in, man. And if you're willing to break free of that, you know, I think everybody has good intentions, but until you really commit, then you're not going to have the success you want, man. You're just going to keep jumping from band to band to band to band to band. You know, same guys, just different.
You ever feel that maybe you have more chance of traveling the world with your puppet show than?
Maybe. You never know. You're going to go to the puppets, aren't you? No, yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, puppets are puppets, but it's still a show. But I mean, you know, I mean, if you want to talk puppets, we can talk puppets, but right. I don't think Creepin' Charlie and the puppets or anything are going to cross.
You found creatures.
Yeah. But see, you don't even know about my other puppets, do you?
No.
Yeah, see, dude.
Now tell me.
Why? I mean, you can't see them. They're on the radio. No. Actually, I have this character. It's called Skookyfoot, and he is a Bigfoot. But he comes from the woods to teach kids about how to be eco-aware, and all that's in development, man. It's an idea I love, man. I mean, I love educating kids about stuff like that, but using my art to do that is like, it's a great forum, but I'm alone in it. You know, it's like.
So I know that you got a Jim Henson show on.
Yeah, I do.
So is that one of your? Yeah,
man. Why not? I mean, Henson was a good man. Innovative man, you know, and I mean, that you know, I respect somebody like that. I mean, you know, someone who still, even after the death, leaves such a imprint, you know, on right, you know, on art, man. It's phenomenal. But yeah, you know, it's yeah, we'll have to talk sometime about the puppets, man, because it's really cool.
We should do a puppet show on the podcast.
Do we have cameras, or will this like? I think this could be kind of weird.
Out, man.
I'm wearing a puppet now, man.
Yeah. Just want me to narrate the whole thing.
Right there, you go.
I'm wearing a puppet too.
Hey, look out,
Kiki! Don't look. But.
I'm not. Trust me.
No.
So you see a future? You see anything else you want to do musically, or?
Man, honestly, I like having fun with the Full Moon Dogs. You know, they're guys I respect. They're guys, man, that I love playing with. And when we go and do it,
they are fun gigs. I gotta tell you,
they're great guys, man. I mean, the rapport that we have with each other, man, is like, I mean, we're all the same sense of humor. We can like play on stage and like look at somebody one way, in a, you know, weird way, and they know exactly what the look is. Did
you ever think 20 years ago that your favorite project 20 years from then would be a cover band?
No, man, dude. Even like 3 years ago, I was fighting it. You know, I mean,
you were fighting it, yeah.
Because I love playing with those guys. You know, but and you don't rarely get into a situation with musicians that are like that where everybody's, you know, cool with playing the same stuff, and but I just couldn't, man. I was so like hard charging because with the Sinners, we had moved in, we'd gotten real, man. We became a business and, LLC and all this tax shit and all this stuff that became my, because I felt like we were getting a chance, and so it was like, I wanted that to be my focal point, not playing at a bar on the South Side, and playing same
That
tunes.
place.
Well, dude, that place is our
that
place,
place
dude.
is fucking raging, man.
If you want to see the Foaming Dogs play, come to that place. Dude.
Oh
You'll
my
see a show.
God, man.
But otherwise, we're playing someplace where they're moving to like tables out. Here, you guys go here, sit up here on the floor and play. And it's, to go and do that on a weekend when I'd rather been camping or something like that, man, it created this friction with me. But honestly, man, Wade Parrish, our drummer, he was like, look, man, this is a good gig. This doesn't happen too often. And in my skewed mind, I thought, cover bands, man, everybody gets some cover bands. Everybody, that's the end of the road. Everybody, but really it's a great display of what you can do, man. Can you get up and sing David Bowie and then turn around and sing, Freddie Mercury and then turn around and sing
Black
Roger
Crows.
Daltrey and do Black Crows? Can you do that? It's like, and if you can, then why not? But I don't do it in such a way that it's like, we don't try to be fake about it. You know what I mean? It's not like we're back there with processors, man, kind of gearing in the guitar to make it sound like Roger, and make it sound like whoever, it's like that's our sound. That's who we are, So when we play it, it's authentic sounding,
I just can't believe you sat here and told me you actually listened to Wade Parrish and took Wade Parrish's advice.
Dude.
I mean, that's pretty dangerous right there.
Yeah, he's a busy man, so that tells you something.
That tell you something.
So, I think he kind of knows what he's talking about. No, he's a dude. I think if you don't know Wade Parrish and you don't know what he's capable of, I think you'd be really surprised at what that dude could do. Honestly, I would put it this way: if I got sick and couldn't do a show, he could play the drums and the lead vocals on
I'm
every
sure he
fucking
could.
song I sing.
He had surprised me so many times.
Right, man.
It's unbelievable the depth of his talent.
It is, man. I mean, in the vocal range that he can get, it's like, somebody shouts out Zeppelin, it's like, okay, you go ahead, Wade, because I'm not even going to even touch that, and he does it. I mean, he does like Rod Stewart, man. We do Maggie May, and it's like he tears it up each and every time. And that's not easy songs to sing, but we all each have our kind of thing, man. I'm better at doing like, the Doors, the Who, Bowie kind of stuff, and Jeff, he's more like, he can do like Steve Winwood, he can do like, piano, all this piano stuff. And then Wade, man, he can come and do the hard rock high kind of octave shit,
And Grimmett just the icing on the cake.
He just plays guitar.
The pretty
That's all
little
he
sex
does,
symbol
man.
over there with the big oversized guitar.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
That's him. Emerald, what'd you call him? Emerald Grimmett or Emerald Eric?
Emerald Eric, yep. Emerald Eric.
That was always, every time you covered one of our shows, that would be the highlight, was whatever you called Eric at the time. Emerald Eric, and there was others that you called him.
I love him. Love that dude.
He's a great guitar player, man. I mean, they're all
The
good.
best guitar player, I think, in the city of. I mean, he can do anything.
Yeah, man, he can. And my view of him has always been that, no disrespect to any of the other guitar players that are out there, but man, he really kind of like was in the underdog position, and really worked his way out of that to be a really versatile guitar player. I mean, that's real, that comes from that lineage of real,
Right.
guttural guitar. When he hits the strings, you feel it. It's not all flash. It's not all,
Came straight from his
Right,
heart.
totally, man.
And you
totally.
can feel that, too.
Right. So when you sync that up with another person that's doing that, then you create really killer stuff, and but it's a shame that it's all a business, and it's a shame that we can't really fairly get it out there and do it and make a living off of it, because it is what it is, man.
Well, so March 10th,
Yeah.
Creepin Charlie,
Yeah.
5-year mission, radio. And let's end the segment with Jezebel, which was originally a Creepin Charlie song,
Yes, it was.
but actually I think worked better as a Shelby County singing song.
Yeah.
So
No.
thank you,
Thanks, man.
Shelby. You'll come back with some puppets.
Yeah, well, part 2, man. Yeah.
Yeah, we did a puppet show.
That'll be fun. I'll bring some artwork too, man.
Yeah, we have some artwork.
I brought some.
Have an art show.
Yeah. All these paintings behind me that you
Have an
can't
art
see.
show. Yeah, it'd be great. Okay.
Right
Well,
on.
thank you, Shelby.
Thank you. This is Shelby Kelly from the Shelby County Centers, and you're listening to 8 Up the Podcast.
Wakanda forever!
Yeah! Kiki! Come to the point in the podcast when it's just me and you
Ooh, Jeff.
alone. But you mind if we bring Shelby into the mix?
Feeling a little bored? Want to experiment?
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Shelby, are you okay with this?
Yes, I'm in.
Were you ready to puppet?
Yes, I did.
All right.
I brought it.
All right.
So, Kiki, on the way over here, we were talking. I have a house guest this weekend that made me watch Hitch last night. And I wanted to stab myself in the brain every second that fucking movie was on.
So, Hitched is a rom-com.
Yes.
Okay. And
Apparently, your boyfriend, manly man Tony,
I'm in so much trouble.
had the trick to get
Yes.
you to like rom-com.
Occasionally, my significant other will, he will not play a trailer of a movie that he wants to watch. He will instead decide to explain what the movie is about. Sometimes when he does that, he glosses over the fact that it's a rom-com.
And so all of a sudden you find yourself in a movie going, God damn
It'll
it,
be,
why am I watching?"
35 minutes into a flick, and suddenly I realize that 22 of the minutes have been about some idiot relationship that I don't care anything about, with a few jokes smattered in, for good measure. Yeah, usually about a third of the way in, I realize that I've been suckered.
So if you're in the city and you know Tony Beamer, and you think he's a manly man,
Oh,
he's
shit,
really
he's
a
gonna
frilly
kill
little
me.
rom-com loving girly girl.
That's not true. This has not happened that often, but it has happened more than once. We'll just put it like that. All right.
So in conclusion, I'd just like to say, fuck rom-coms,
Fuck them.
fuck them to hell. And I think Shelby is doing a puppet show to that same effect right now.
Yeah.
Marceau, I'm just gonna.
So,
So what's up?
Black Panther is what's up.
I
Black Panther
know.
is a #1 movie.
I tried to go
in
see
the
it yesterday. It was
world.
sold out everywhere I
Of course,
tried
it's
to go
fucking
see
sold
it.
out. So, yeah. All right. First of all, let's start with how awesome this movie is. I've seen it twice now. I'm sad that I've only seen it twice, actually. I'm going to try not to spoil this, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, I will yell spoilers if I'm about to say something that you don't want to hear. But right out of the gate, I just want to say there are two things that you need to be ready for when you go see this movie, Jeff. One, don't expect really great CGI. It feels like maybe it got to post a little late, and they didn't really have a lot of time, and Marvel is now a very large machine with a lot of cogs, and I think that there was a timing issue with getting that CGI just right. So there's some scenes where you're going to look at it and go, why in the fuck isn't this just like actual people in real, outfits? Why are they CGIing this? I don't know why.
Did it affect the movie?
A few people will tell you yes, that it took them out of the moment. For me, no. In the first time I watched the movie, I didn't even notice, honestly. I was so enthralled by what was going on, the content, the plot, the acting, just everything about this movie, that you couldn't have pulled me out of it physically, with a herd of elephants. Like, there's no way you could have pulled me out of this movie the first time I saw it. The second time, because I'd already listened to other people say, like, yeah, the CGI was disappointing, I looked for it. And so then I was like, yeah, okay, this scene, a little problematic, that scene, a little problematic. But the actors are so phenomenal, and it is directed and shot in such a way that I don't think that it really, even though some of the moments you're just like, wow, that was really not great, it doesn't ruin it. It doesn't even touch how good the movie is, because that's how good it is.
So take us through the basic plot of the movie.
So if you're not...
Where did Black Panther come from?
So if you're not familiar with the storyline, the Black Panther is sort of like the guardian / prince of a country in Africa called Wakanda. Wakanda, if you can wrap your brain around this concept, is an uncolonized, never previously colonized country in Africa. Which, right there tells you that it's fiction.
Are there any countries in Africa that have never been colonized?
I mean, that's a tricky question. We can have that conversation all you want, because that's an anthropological issue, but it depends on your definition of colonized.
Right.
Are there countries in Africa that don't have predominantly white governments? Yes, absolutely. Have they not ever been colonized? No, probably not. So it's really going to depend on your definition of what colonized means.
Got it. Okay.
But as far as Wakanda goes, like, most of these people have never seen a white face, not in person anyway, maybe through media, but not in person. And Wakanda is well hidden from the rest of the world. Through technology, they have cloaked themselves. They've hidden their abilities and their technologies. And they are the most technologically advanced civilization on the planet, because they didn't go the way of war. They didn't get involved in all of these issues with the planet, with globalization, and they happen to have this natural resource that it's called vibranium, which is a metal. It's what Captain America's shield is made out of. And you'll see it spattered throughout the Marvel universe and other storylines. But the basic fact is that they've built their culture and their technology around this vibranium, this mountain of vibranium that they have, this almost endless supply of it that they have. And because of that, they're really, they're very introverted with the rest of the world. They don't want anyone else to know, because they've seen the way that the rest of the world likes to sort of take over when they find something they like on a different continent. They just go, oh, I'll have that, thank you. And so because of that, they've just sort of steered clear. Well, so in this movie, basically you're dealing with, if you saw Captain America Civil War, Black Panther's in that for, just a hot second, and they kind of touch on the whole, all right, he's the Black Panther now. And
I thought he was a badass.
And he is, and and Black Panther, he's arguably one of the more powerful people that we've seen, that's a human, that we've seen. And he, his suit has special powers. It's made out of vibranium, but he also ingests this herb, which gives him powers even without the suit, right? So the suit makes him super cool, like an Iron Man suit or something, but he also is already Captain America, almost Captain America level, impervious and strong.
So it's like a secret jungle herb?
Yeah, it's this heart-shaped herb, and it's tied into their spirituality and their culture, and everything just sort of ties together with this culture. So that's the premise, that's where we are, geographically speaking, with this movie.
Now, is this before or after the prince left that country and went to Queens to find his wife?
Oh man,
You would go there.
Coming to America. I watched an interview recently. I think it was, I'm pretty sure, Lupita Nyong'o is in this movie, and she's Nakia, and she talked about how when she first saw that movie, she absolutely hated it. But then she realized, okay, first of all, this is satirical. There was a lot of cultural elements to that movie that kind of went over her head. And then she ended up having a big coming to America party at her house or something. I thought that was really funny. So this movie takes place just a few weeks after Civil War.
Okay.
Like I already touched on the CGI, a little bit shoddy there in some places. But overall as a Marvel movie, I think this is, for me, it's in the top 3. It is one of the better Marvel movies. Maybe not the absolute best. I could argue back and forth, like just based, if you're just basing this off of entertainment value, you know, the visual effects, the overall Marvel movie experience, I would put it in the top 3. As far as
no kidding.
Yeah, I would.
Right up there with Iron Man and
Iron Man's not in my top 3.
Well, what's in your top
What
3?
is in your top?
We'll talk about that later. I'm running out of time.
Okay.
What I will say is that as a piece of social commentary, this movie is priceless. It has come at a time when it was needed. I think that we've been thirsty for this movie as just Americans, as human beings. I think we needed the message that this movie gives. Because ultimately T'Challa, the prince, that's his name, T'Challa, he realizes, through being Black Panther that you can't just hide from the world just because you don't have the same problems that everybody else has, that you kind of need to reach out and help other people who are in trouble. Otherwise, that trouble will eventually find your doorstep, whether you like it or not. So I think that's the overall message of this movie. And also, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that what this movie does as far as engaging people in the concept of Afrofuturism, the idea that Africa as a continent, Africans as a people, and those individual cultures within Africa are not this remedial, historical, National Geographic sort of, picturesque, people in need kind of thing. It gives you some forward thinking into, what an uncolonized Africa could look like and what an unfettered people are capable of doing. So I think for that reason, it's absolutely priceless. I watched a video this morning of a little boy who was bawling his eyes out and throwing a temper tantrum because he's only half Black. Tell me what other movie could do that.
Wow.
When he grows up, that kid's going to go, wow, what was I thinking? But for right now, it's just really awesome that this is giving people that kind of pride. And I'm really, really happy that this is out there and that it's part of the Marvel Universe.
Now, is the cast completely...
Almost entirely African American, or African and African American. It's an almost entirely Black cast. You have, I've been seeing people posting memes, the Tolkien white characters, the Tolkien white actors, because both of the main actors in this that are white are Tolkien. They're in Tolkien movies. They're in the Lord of the Rings. So those guys are in it. Schmiegel's in it. But primarily, and there are, like, when you go to the British Museum, obviously there are white people there. The curator, she's white. The security, they're white. Where you would expect to find white people on the planet, there are white people in this movie. But deep in the heart of the African jungle, no, there are no white people. And I'm okay with that. Like, that's fine. That makes perfect sense to me. Yeah. So, don't listen to the hype about this movie being, like, politically charged or racist or anything stupid like that. If that's what you're seeing, you're looking for it. That's what I think, personally. And I couldn't be happier with this cast. This cast is... You could rack your brain as much as you want, and I don't think you could not find a better actor to play any of the roles that they had picked for these people. I didn't know much about Chadwick Boseman. I have so much more respect for him now, and I've been looking into other stuff that he's been in, and I'm very curious about his entire career now. Michael B. Jordan, I've loved since The Wire. And him all grown up's got me feeling some kind of way. I feel a little old, because I can remember when he was just a little tyke, where's Walter? Like, I remember him as a child, and now he is this grown, magical human. Like, he's gorgeous. And I love that he's getting this attention. Like, white America has suddenly been like, whoa, who's that guy? And I'm good for him. I'm so glad that he's jumped all the way to the top. Because honestly, Killmonger is probably is the best Marvel villain so far. He's the most relatable to me as an anthropologist, to someone who kind of sees that, that the bad side of, like, colonization, and as if there's a good side, but just the appropriation of people's culture and art. It struck a nerve with me, and there was moments in that movie when I was like, well, he's not wrong. Like, you really find yourself in this movie at times kind of rooting for Killmonger, because he's not wrong. Maybe a little overzealous, but not entirely wrong. But yeah, I don't think anybody is going to be surprised about Denai. She's Michonne in The Walking Dead. She plays another badass warrior in this, and you know, she's just got, as a human being, I've watched a lot of interviews with her, and she's just got an edge to her that fits that type of role.
I love her. I've been in love with her.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, Lupita, like I said, she's great. Letitia Wright she was Princess Shuri in this movie. She was also in the very last episode of Black Mirror, if you guys made it through that.
Oh, the one at that museum.
The girl with the English accent who at the end drops it. Yeah, that's her. And she was my favorite part of that entire series, the second season of Black Mirror. Like, she blew me away in that episode. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, Shuri is she's the beginning and the end of everything for me. Like, I absolutely loved Shuri. Everything that came out of her mouth in this movie was just 100% yes. So I liked her a lot. Yeah, I mean, I can't really say much more without spoiling it, so I'll just...
Do you think this is a new franchise?
I mean, this is part of the Marvel franchise, and we are now in phase 4.
Is this the beginning of a Black Panther?
Oh, they're definitely going to do a Black Panther 2 and maybe a 3. So everyone who signs on with Marvel, the MCU, the cinematic universe, they sign a contract, and most of them are pretty lofty. They have to do several feature films. They have to do quite a bit of promotional touring. And from what I understand, it's exhausting, but it's totally worth it. So we're going to see him again. He did his bit part in Civil War. He was, this was his feature film. He'll have another feature film. They'll probably give him some more smaller parts, like Infinity Wars. He'll definitely be in that. There's certain other storylines that are about to start and that are wrapping up in the MCU that are kind of almost impossible to do without him, or just the concept of Wakanda in general. So we'll see what happens as far as how much he's going to be in some of these other movies, but we're going to see a lot more of him.
Whoever would have thought Marvel would have this kind of empowering impact?
I mean,
built-in characters, man. I mean, these characters are tried and true throughout.
Well, you got to understand, Black Panther came about during the civil rights movement, and this was something that, when they wrote Black Panther to begin with, it kind of, at the time, was just, I feel like America was it was every bit as polarized as it is now, maybe more so then. So while we're not, we don't have that issue of Jim Crow now, there are a lot of other issues that people are dealing with, and there's just so much polarization going on in this country. And I feel like that's why it was so important that this movie came out now, just like it was important that Black Panther as a comic came out when it did, and I was reading something the other day where they were talking about how when they first made the comic book, executives were like, "Oh, there's not enough white people in this. You got to put more white people in it." So the next episode, they made them fight the KKK.
Oh wow!
There you go. There's your white people.
Right.
So I mean, this has been you're right. It's totally built-in characters, and the timing is just unfortunately perfect.
Yeah, and technology. I think technology has a big part to do with it, to be able to bring these characters to life on screen. That's make it believable. I mean, what do you have? I know it's not Marvel, but Superman. Laying down on a table, blue screen table, flying. I mean, come a long way.
Yeah, live action versus the CGI. Even bad CGI is in some instances better.
Right. Well, like Iron Man. I don't think there's any way they could have really have done Iron Man and done it good, without all the CGI. Right.
Agreed.
Right.
Yeah. So. And that's the same with this movie. But like I said, even though some of the CGI is not great, there's so much with just the concept of Marvel storylines and characters that it is almost impossible to do.
So this part of it
without that
is the Marvel universe evolving, moving away from certain.
I mean, they're growing. Yeah. I mean, with any there's
Robert Downey Jr. can't be doing this forever.
He has said he has said in multiple interviews that he is going to do this as long as they let him.
Really?
He not only does he love the attention and he's had the comeback. nobody's had a comeback like him since Elvis, Twinkies maybe, but like Robert Downey Jr. is just owning this whole comeback thing. And not only is he loving the attention, but Marvel fans are just frighteningly loyal. And comic book people in general, we spend so much time and money and energy, and we invest in that world, I can imagine to be an actor can be a little overwhelming for some people, but for someone as seasoned as him that's been in the industry as long as he has, clearly he likes the attention.
Yeah.
And this is like a different kind of attention than what I think he's used to too. It's really, even people who have been A-list stars are like, wow, this is overwhelming. And the paycheck's insane. So
it's his forum too. He is an A-list actor. It's
and he's the quarterback of the Marvel universe right now.
You could sit back and be coach on having a job for the next 10 years, man, just showing up and being.
And he came from a different place. It wasn't like he started his career with this, and this had defined his career. This is just like
reestablished
icing on his cake,
Right.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah. So I really like it. It's a great movie. I'm going to go see it for a third time as soon as possible. And I encourage that you all do the same thing. Go see it, Jeff. Go see that movie.
I'm going to go see it next weekend.
Good.
Check your show times. They might be.
Maybe you go with me.
out.
Yeah, I'll go with you. Absolutely.
So on our Facebook page, if you go this week, I'm going to make Kiki list her top 5 Marvel
I'll do that.
characters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or movies.
I don't have a problem doing that. I'll do it today.
So, Facebook, Egg Up the Podcast Facebook page. Kiki will give you her top 5. You want to do characters? You want to do movies?
I'll do my top 5 Marvel movies.
Is the Punisher in there? The Punisher series?
Well, that's not a movie, but if you want me to do like Marvel series as well, I'll give my favorite Marvel series. But I don't think the Punisher would be my favorite.
I forgot it was a series. Yeah, it wasn't really a movie.
Yeah. It's a good one though. It would be hard actually to say which Marvel show is my favorite. That would be really difficult.
It'll take some thought.
Because I love Daredevil.
They're so different.
Much.
All of them are so different stylistically. They're the social commentary, like
Luke Cage. It's so good.
Everything. Yeah, they're all just so different and so great.
That's why I like the series, the Punisher series. I know it's not a movie, but the series really took the character and made it real.
Absolutely.
The movies of the Punisher. Well, I don't think there's been one that's really defined the character as well as the series has. But
I think the way that they dealt with PTSD, combat stress, whatever you want to call it, I think the way they dealt with that whole concept was so careful and responsible.
Well, for it to even be there, for it to be a point, I thought it was good that they brought it up.
Yeah, that was a really good one. But yeah, I'll let you guys know what my 5 favorite Marvel movies are. I can throw up my 5 favorite Marvel comic characters in general too.
Okay, yeah, do it all. Do it all, Kiki.
Just for the hell of it. Do we have a minute for me to talk about what's on right now that I want you guys to go watch?
Yeah, and I also want to kind of give us a feeling of what's coming up that you're looking forward to.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to the newest Marvel movies coming out. Infinity Wars is going to be off the hook, and I can't wait. What else is coming out that I'm excited about?
I've heard about this horror movie.
Venom. Oh, thank you for reminding me.
I've heard about this horror movie called Heredity. Or it's supposed to be scarier than The Exorcist, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I'm with Shelby on that one. All right, we'll see. Everybody's got something to say.
All right.
I don't know. I just watched last night. Tony and I watched. We finished watching Cloverfield Paradox. This is how bad this movie is. It took me 2 days to finish it. All right.
You mean you didn't watch Jerry Maguire? Tony said, I got a great action movie.
Yeah, it's so
about
good.
Sports.
You're gonna love it.
It's about sports.
Yeah, we tried to watch Cloverfield Paradox. We finished it eventually. It took us 2 days, but we finished it. I'm gonna murder her name, but her name is Gugu Mbatha Raw. She's the main character in Cloverfield Paradox. She's the best part of the movie. I encourage you to see her in anything else other than this film. The movie itself just fell apart. Chris O'Dowd, I usually like him. I think he's really funny. He's an Irish comedic actor. He falls so flat in this. Like that poor guy. I just actually felt bad for him in this movie. On the other hand, Altered Carbon just came out on Netflix. You can watch the whole first season. Totally worth it. I binged that entire season in 2 days.
Have you seen Everything Sucks?
Yes, I just finished that yesterday. I binged that in less than a day. It took me, I watched the whole thing back to back. They're 23-minute episodes. It's so easy. You can just, it's like candy. Like I couldn't stop.
It was like candy. I loved it. And it really took me back to that period, too.
Right. Yeah, well, I am that, like, I was a senior in high school so this all takes place in 1996, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was a senior in high school when this show is taking place, and I was into theater, and this TV show is about AV and theater nerds, and the madness that ensues when you get those two groups together in high school. It's great. It's a really good series, aptly named. Everything Sucks. And you should definitely check that one out. Another one that's hasn't gotten, I think that's, a lot of people started this show and were like, oh, this should be good.
Please say End of the Fucking World.
No, I haven't seen that yet, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'll let you know what I think. No, The Magicians. Season 3 just started, and if you were a fan of the Harry Potter books when you were younger and now you're older and they seem a little childish to you, but you still like that whole idea of that type of fantasy world, The Magicians is absolutely the show for you. I know several people who started it and thought they were going to like it because it's fantasy, it's magic, it's all these things, but then they gave up on it after a couple episodes or the first season. It does dip. A lot of shows do. A lot of shows dip in that second season. It's that dreaded second season. But this one picks up in the third season. It's so good. If you gave it a shot and you let it go, pick it back up, it's absolutely worth it. I promise you the third season will not disappoint you.
I'm not a nerd, so I doubt I'll be
Two Dope Queens is on right now. They got their own HBO special. Watch it. Two Dope Queens is one of my favorite podcasts. I think those two women are hilarious. Phoebe and Jessica have earned this HBO special. If you like comedians, if you like stand-up, that's pretty much what they do. I don't know if you've listened to the podcast before, but it's two women. They have great chemistry between each other. They just shoot the shit kind of like we do, and then they bring out stand-up comedians. Like you bring musicians, they bring stand-up comedians, and just the whole thing on HBO translates really well. They're both beautiful, and they're very hilarious and talented and intelligent, and the people that they've been able to bring on stage through HBO have been fantastic, and I applaud them for giving a voice to people that I've never heard of. I mean, there's so many comedians that they're bringing on there. Like they're big time now. They could be bringing out big time comedians, and they're not. And I really applaud them for that. So give that a shot if you can. Counterpart is another good show if you're into sci-fi. Tony and I have been watching that. Pretty hooked on it. High Maintenance new season is out, or it's on now. We just finished watching the newest season last night. Super good. Totally encourage people, if you haven't started watching High Maintenance, if you're into weed related things, then it's a great show. It takes place in New York City. It's fantastic.
Have you watched Disjointed?
I
Kathy Bates.
think I gave that a shot. I think I maybe watched like the first episode, and I don't remember.
The two characters
why
in
I
there,
stopped.
Dank and Dabby, are the best two new characters of any TV
Dank and Dabby, huh?
Oh, they're so awesome.
Fantastic. Drunk History. That's another one.
Always good.
While we're talking about
Always
Altered
good.
States. Yeah. Have you seen the new season?
No.
The new season's fantastic. They've got some of my favorite people narrating some of these history lessons, if that's what we're calling them these days.
Right.
But yeah, the new season, again, that was another show that kind of dipped there for a second. I think they were sort of getting low on content and maybe kind of running out of steam, but Ooh, I don't know what he did, but he did something right, and he came back with a vengeance this season. So check that out too.
All right, but Kiki, Rick is in there having a shake. He can't go 2 hours without a drink. So, he's rolling his eyes. He's looking at the clock. God damn it, Rick! You have your vodka shot here in a second. Just chill out, relax, take a deep breath, take a shot of rum. It'll be okay.
Will you hold me?
Shelby?
Hey,
So this
I'm
whole
holding
time when
anybody.
Kiki been talking, Shelby had been interpreting what she said through the use of her sock puppet.
Totally missed
Been
it.
great. Thank you for that,
Beautiful.
Shelby.
Hey, you're welcome. Anytime.
So this is it. We've made it 4 podcasts, Kiki. Can
We're
you
4
fucking
in.
believe it?
Yeah, I can.
Episode 4. Let's go for 5.
Let's try. Yeah.
Let's go for it. This is Kiki.
This is Jeff.
And you're listening to
Ate Up the Podcast, episode 4.
God damn it,